The Goblin Queen steals a baby. No, this isn't the sequel to The Labyrinth. It's Jean Grey #3, today on The Newest Mutants! Hello, I'm Laz, your favorite mutant, and I read comics so you don't have to. And today we're talking Jean Grey #3 in our continuing Fall of X coverage. But before we do, I'd love it if you hit like and subscribe. With that, let us get into it. Our story begins inside the mind of Jean Grey. She's having a conversation telepathically with Madelyne Pryor. She's saying every time she deals with her, things go to hell. But then things get weird, and now Jean is both in her mind and in a desert. What is happening? But suddenly we are back in Jean's mind, and now she's being chained by Madelyne's chains. These memories of Madelyne are shackling Jean. But behind Jean, in chains, is the face of Hope Summers. And Hope says she's going to read Jean's mind. What is happening? Let's do a quick recap. We know that Hope Summers is in a mysterious place, far from Earth, and her story is being told over in Immortal X-Men. This issue will directly cross over with Immortal X-Men #17, so please stay tuned for that episode. So we're back to Jean, and we can see into the place where Hope is. Also, Exodus is there as well. And now Hope is saying that Jean's mind is on fire and asks the question, what's the white hot room? And that is a good question. What is the white hot room? Well, originally appearing in Classic X-Men #8 in added material, the White Hot Room is a place that is intrinsically linked to the Phoenix Force. It exists outside of time and space. It's also sort of a mutant afterlife. Also, all of the avatars of the Phoenix Force exist there. It's a weird place, but that's the White Hot Room as far as I can tell for now. So we cut to New York City, and there is a giant pentagram in the sky, and it's just filling the world with demons. Nothing special. And we cut to a beautifully detailed panel where, from her perspective, Madelyne is telling Jean about her life. How she was cloned from Jean's cells to get a child of Scott and Jean's, how the Phoenix Force awakened her as an empty vessel, a pawn, and how she married Scott and gave birth to Nathan Christopher Summers, how Scott left her for Jean, which Jean interrupts and says, hey, they told Scott that you were dead. Madelyne goes on and is like, yeah, I was used as a pawn by Sinister, by Scott, by the demon Sim, and the demon Nazturth. And Jean comes back at her and describes the events of a young Nathan Christopher being kidnapped by demons. And then Jean wonders, what would have went down if they didn't let Nathan Christopher Summers get kidnapped by these demons. And in this scenario, he is rescued. But Madelyne, who is in limbo, gets news that her son wasn't brought back to him and is angry and kills the messengers. And that's when Mr. Sinister appears, telling Madelyne of her true origins. And here, Sinister shackles Madelyne. Of course, the demons get mad and grapple Sinister, and as he's being restrained, Madelyne breaks free of these shackles and incinerates Mr. Sinister. After she does so, the demon Naztur is like, oh, you can rule by my side now once we open a portal to Earth, and Madelyne is like, nah, destroys him too. Next up, Sim. He's like, oh, of course you picked me, and Sim gets annihilated. She says the reign of the Goblin Queen is about to begin. Back on Earth, Scott and Jean are flying away from a limbo-fied New York City, being chased by demons, of course. They escape and make it to an X-Factor ship that is in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and they want to just keep Nathan safe. They arrive there, and of course, Madelyne already knew where to find them and confronts them. Once again, Scott claims he thought she was dead and there was DNA evidence. Madelyne is like, Sinister planted that evidence. Anyways, Maddie just kills Scott, and Scott is like, protect the baby. But Madelyne really wants to kill the baby, and so Maddie and Jean keep fighting. Jean hides the future cable, and that's when the Phoenix Force shows up and offers Jean a chance to accept it, both the light and the dark, in order to save herself and protect young Nathan Christopher Summers. And Jean rejects it. So Maddie and Jean, they keep fighting. And it's a pretty good fight until, Madeline, wins. She floods the earth, and all of a sudden we're just back into Jean's mind. And so in Jean's mind, she is now confronted by the many various hosts of the Phoenix Force telling her, "You created this mess." And that's the book! This is the part of the episode where I like to thank you now for making it this far. And as always, I pose a question based on the book we just read. And when it comes to Jean Grey, it seems like she can't ever shake the Phoenix Force storylines. But if you were writing the X-Men, what would you do with Jean Grey? What kind of non-Phoenix stories would she be in? I would kind of like to see her develop as a member of the Avengers. Right? Think about it. She's easily as strong as anyone on that team. I think she'd be great with them. It would be a whole different crowd that she would be interacting with. Maybe make some estrangement from the X-Men for a while and put Jean kind of in the spotlight with a different team. I think that would help her grow, especially maybe outside of like Phoenix Force and X-Men stuff, which she is just always linked to no matter what. It feels like she can't get away from it. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Now, back to the show. Time now to give credit where credit is due. First, let's check out these two covers that I have. We have the variant cover right here by Joshua Swaby, right? Very nice. Goblin Queen, hot, right? Check it out. And then over here, we have the A cover. This is the regular cover for the book, and this is a cover by Amy Reeder. Amy Reeder. We got a little reflection there, but you can see it right there. Our writer for this book is Louise Simonson. We have our artist Bernard Chang. Color artist is Marcelo Maiolo. Letterer, Ariana Marr. And as always, our editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, C.B. Cebulski. It is time now for my takeaways, and really the only one that is relevant to the Fall of X storyline is the development that Hope Summers can somehow read Jean's mind, even though Jean is dead. Hope also asks about the White Hot Room, and it makes me wonder if all the mutants that we thought were not dead, that were with Exodus and Hope and Destiny in Immortal X-Men, they might actually just be dead. I don't know. I don't know, really. But this is just one conclusion one may come to based on the dialogue here and knowing what's going down in Immortal X-Men. So I will wait to pass judgment, but this is where I'm at right now. And with that, let's check out my favorite art in this book. My third favorite panel is going to go to this amalgamation of Madeline Pryor, the clone of Jean Grey, as the Goblin Queen, but also infected by the techno-organic virus. So she's now like part Phoenix, part, limbo magician, and part machine. She is an incredible terror to behold, and she looks rad. Check it out. My second favorite panel is this panel of Madeline in limbo, surrounded by demons. She looks very sinister, no pun intended, great detail, and I love the use of color here. Also, the Goblin Queen fit is always Phoenix Fire, if you know what I'm saying. But my favorite panel is this full-page panel of Madeline telepathically telling Jean her backstory. I love the artwork here. Bernard Chang did a great job, especially with the retro looks of Jean and Scott and Maddie in this piece. So please enjoy this beautiful piece of art. And that's the show. But before I go, I love to share a book from my own collection. And today's book is Uncanny X-Men number 241. It is the origin of the Goblin Queen and Madeline Pryor. And check out this awesome cover. We can see the various limbo demons as well as a young Nathan Summers being carried away. Much like in this issue of Jean Grey. This is a Mark Silvestri and Dan Green cover with a story by the GOAT, Chris Claremont. Join us next time for Uncanny Avengers number 3. Until then, I'm Laz, and this has been The Newest Mutant!